Welcome back to another video on my channel. It is that time of week again where we are doing my Premier League predictions. If I've just had I'm filming this after just having a shower, that's why my hair is a bit wet. But we'll forget about that and we'll just get on with this video because we got some special games in the game that we're predicting, which is Game Week 17. Game Week 16 pulled off some very interesting results. West Ham lost. Fulham won 5-0 again in their second game running. This time at home. Again, both second time at home, but this time against West Ham. Luton put up a good fight against my team, Man City. We got off, but City ended up coming out with a win. Our first win in 4 games. Liverpool came from a goal behind to beat Palace. Arsenal lost. Villa beat another top team with last week. During last week. It was in midweek last week. It was City. On the weekend, it was Arsenal winning back-to-back games against City and Arsenal at Villa Park by 1 goal to nil. But the result of the weekend, not just Saturday's games, but of the weekend, is Man United losing 3-0 at home to Bournemouth, and then staying at Old Trafford to play Bayern Munich and losing 1-0 and going out of Europe altogether. So this will be the game that they got this week, which couldn't get any tougher as it's at Anfield against Liverpool. United need to bounce back after elimination from Europe altogether with an impressive performance and hope and possibly somehow in a weird world a win against Liverpool, which is unlikely going to happen, but you'll see my predictions. So there are some interesting games today. City are hoping to go into the Club World Cup on a good run of form by beating Crystal Palace. We have our first Friday night game. I'm pretty sure our first Friday night game since the first week of the season when Man City played Burnley on Friday night. So we've got a Friday night game, which is Nottingham Forest hosting Liverpool at the City Ground. We've also got a very interesting game at St James's Park between Newcastle, who sadly, unfortunately, yesterday were knocked out of Europe altogether, and Fulham, who, like I said, in the last 2 games, have scored 10 goals, conceding 0. So yeah, there are some interesting games, and if you're watching this video, you're going to see me give my predictions for Game Week 17. And let's start my predictions in Game Week 17 with the game I told you about at the City Ground, Nottingham Forest. Now this is interesting. Tottenham got back to winning ways in the Premier League with a impressive 4-1 win at home to Newcastle, to a struggling Newcastle. While Forest were less than stellar. Were less than stellar in their game against Wolves. Took the lead, conceded very shortly after. So they got picked up a point, but a point's not good enough. You should be beating teams in and around you. So it's going to be an interesting game between Nottingham Forest and Tottenham. I think Tottenham are going to struggle at the City Ground because of the crowd and all that sort of stuff. But I do personally think Spurs will have too much for us. So I'm going to say Spurs win 2-1. And I'll give my goal scorers at the very end. Next up, we have a big 6-pointer. We have Bournemouth, who, like I said, absolutely destroyed Man United at Old Trafford, winning 3-0, versus Luton Town, who, like I said, went ahead against Man City, my team Man City, but ended up conceding 2 goals in the space of 4 minutes, and they couldn't find an equaliser, and City got back to it anyways. This is a very intriguing game because Bournemouth impressed against United and were absolutely amazing. United were shit. Bournemouth were such a better side, and loads of sides are starting to beat United now, which is a bit suspect for Man United. But this is not about Man United. This is about Bournemouth and Luton. Luton, like I said, unlucky to lose to us, but we did we were the better team. They scored against the run of play to go 1-0 up. To go 1-0 up and to go into half-time at 1-0. But City turned on the star. We turned on the star, and we dominated Luton throughout the game, and we deserved the 3 points. But Luton, I think, will give Bournemouth a tough going. I think Luton at home will be tougher for Bournemouth than I thought Man United away would be. I do think Bournemouth are going to win this 6-pointer against Luton at home. The crowd will be behind them, and I'm going to say they win 2-0. Next up, we have the train wreck. That is Chelsea versus Sheffield United. Chelsea in midweek last week, lost to Man United, as we all know. Losing to Man United 2-1. On the weekend, unfortunately for Chelsea on the weekend, it didn't get any better as they lost 2-0 at home to the team with 10 points, with a 10 points deduction, Everton. So Chelsea are coming into this game against Sheffield United, who are on the back of 2 defeats. A Sheffield United team who got their second win of the Premier League season by beating Brentford at home, which was in Chris Wilder's second game at back at Bramall Lane, back at Sheffield United. In Chris Wilder's first game at Bramall Lane since returning to become Sheffield United manager. Chelsea away will be Chris Wilder's first away game back at Sheffield United, and I think Sheffield United will give Chelsea a tough time of it at Stamford Bridge. I don't think Sheffield United will win, but I do see them getting a draw. I do have a sneaky feeling that they'll get a draw. So I'm going to say 1-1 for that game. Now we go to the game that I expect to be probably the easiest game to predict. I don't see anything other than a Man City win at home to Crystal Palace. Our home form is just incredible. We have 2 more games at home, and they are against Crystal Palace before pre-Club World Cup and Sheffield United post-Club World Cup. If City win or draw if City beat Palace and beat Sheffield United, or draw against Palace and beat Sheffield United, or beat Palace and draw against Sheffield United, or draw against Palace and Sheffield United, City will go the whole year unbeaten. City are 2 wins at home, 2 wins or 2 draws, 2 wins, 2 draws, 1 win and 1 draw away from going unbeaten in 2023. If City beat Palace at the Etihad on Saturday, and then beat Sheffield United at the end of the month at the Etihad, then City will go the whole of 2023 unbeaten at home, which I wouldn't have expected to see happen to my team. At the start of this year, if you would have told me that City would be 2 games away from going unbeaten in a year, I would never believed you. So I think I think City will want to try and go unbeaten for this entire season. So I think that's why it will be such an easy prediction. I backed City to smash Luton 4-1. And I think the last time City played at home against a struggling side, it was Bournemouth and we won 6-1. I don't think it's going to be as heavy for Palace as that game, but I'm going to predict City will score 4 in a 4-0 win. St James's Park, Newcastle, Fulham. Fulham, 2 games, 2 games at home, 2 home wins, 10 goals scored, 0 conceded. Impressive. Newcastle on a bit of a bad run of form. They lost in midweek in the Champions League to AC Milan, which eliminated them from Europe altogether. So no Europe after Christmas for Newcastle. They also lost on the weekend against Tottenham, and in midweek they lost 3-0 to Everton. So Newcastle on the bad run of form. So if any time was great, if you could say any time was the best time to be facing Newcastle right now the best time to be facing Newcastle is probably right now, because they're on a bad run of form, and I think Fulham could do something at St James's Park. I'm not saying they'll win, but I think they'll give Newcastle a go of it, and I do think Newcastle will get the win, because I do think they will bounce back after that disappointment against AC Milan in the Champions League at St James's Park. So I'm going to say Newcastle beat Fulham 2-1. Burnley, Everton. Burnley won their first game at Turf Moor a couple of weeks ago against Sheffield United, winning 5-0. Everton just seem to keep picking up points. I'm going to back Everton, being the informed team out of these two sides. And I'm going to say Everton win 3-1. As for Arsenal Brighton, I think this is much more difficult than I thought it would be, because Brighton tonight clinched a place in the round of 16 of the Europa League by beating Marseille 1-0 at the Amex to win their Europa League group. Off the back of qualifying for the round of 16 of the Europa League, Brighton will want to put a good performance in against Arsenal. Do I see them winning? Probably not. But I am going to say they get a goal and really, 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 really test Arsenal. But Arsenal will just scrape past in a 2-1 win. I forgot to mention, City went 6 from 6 in the Champions League on last night, beating Red Star 3-2. And it's the first time City have gone 6 from 6 in a Champions League group stage. And it's the first time, and that was the first time City went 6 from 6 in the Champions League group stage. City also became only the second team in English. And City only became the second English team to win 6 from 6 games in a Champions League group since after Liverpool in 2021-22. So City break records on the day, broke records yesterday. We've also, along with Real Madrid, most points picked up. We scored the most goals. City have been pretty good, and I think we'll continue. And we're on a 2-game winning streak. I think we'll continue that 3-0 with a win over Palace, 3 from 3 with a win over Palace. But I just wanted to mention about Man City, what happened to them in terms of Champions League midweek. Speaking of Champions League midweek, the next game we go. Speaking of European football next in midweek, we're going to go to the Brentford Community Stadium as Brentford host Europa Conference League round of 16. And speaking of teams who played in Europe midweek during this week, as we go to the G-Tech Community Stadium, where Brentford host Aston Villa, who tonight drew 1-1 to clinch a spot in the Europa Conference League round of 16. So Villa, just like Brighton, have qualified for the round of 16. For Brighton, it was the Europa League. For Villa, it was obviously the Conference League, like I just said. And they're going to take a tough trip to Brentford Community Stadium, but a tough trip. It won't be a tough trip. It should be a tough game. But I do think Aston Villa's quality will shine through. I'm going to say Aston Villa will win 3-1. We've got 2 games left. First, the penultimate game in this video of my Gameweek 17 predictions is at London Stadium between West Ham and Wolves. West Ham also clinched a spot in the round of 16 Europa League. In the round of 16 of the Europa League, just like Brighton, with a 2-0 win at home at London Stadium to 5-8. They stay. They're going to... And obviously, Saturday, they're staying at the London Stadium as they host Wolves, who picked up a good draw. West Ham last weekend, the weekend just gone, Wolves drew 1-1 with Nottingham Forest, and West Ham lost 5-0 to Fulham. I do think West Ham will bounce back after that humiliating 5-0 defeat to Fulham, and I think they'll bounce back comfortably. I'm going to say West Ham beat a very good and very impressive Wolves 2-0. Now, the final game in Gameweek 17 is the game of the week. But the big question is, will it be the game of the week? To be honest, Liverpool hosting at Anfield Man United. It's a team on a great run of form who did lose today against Union St. Gilles. And yes, it was a younger team, but they still lost against United, who were humiliated on the weekend 3-0 against Bournemouth, and then lost, and then were eliminated from European competition completely with a 1-0 defeat at Old Trafford, again, to Bayern Munich. Is it really going to be... It should be the game of the weekend, but will it be the game of the weekend? Liverpool, on a great run of form. United are a shambles. Manchester right now is more blue than it is bluer than it ever has been before. United are a disgrace. They're pitiful, and they're going to get a lesson shown to them. Not going to be I don't think it's going to be as horrific as that 7-0 defeat to Liverpool at Anfield last season. But I can't see anything but a Liverpool win. And I'm going to say Liverpool win by 5-1 against Man United. And that is my game week 17 predictions. Now I'm going to go for each prediction I've made. We're going to go for each game. I'm going to give you my prediction again, and then who will score, and I'll give you my predictions on who will score each of the goals. So first game was Forest Tottenham, which I said 2-1 Tottenham. Tottenham will score through Dejan Kulusevski and Son, while Forest will score through Forest will score through Gibbs White. Bournemouth Luton, I said 2-0 Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth will score through Solanke and Billing. Chelsea Sheffield United, I said 1-0. Chelsea will score through Cole Palmer. Sheffield United will score through Cameron Archer. Man City Palace, I said 4-0 Man City. Goals for Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Julian Alvarez, and actually 2 goals for Foden, 1 for Grealish, 1 for Alvarez. Yeah, so City, Palace says 4-0 City. 2 goals for Foden, and then 1 goal for Alvarez and Grealish. Haaland will not play, despite the fact Pep Guardiola confirmed that he did return, that he could return back. I don't know if he's returned back to training again, but Pep Guardiola said said yesterday that he thinks he said on the weekend that Pep said on the weekend that he thinks Haaland would be back in training by Thursday. But I don't think that will be. I don't think Haaland will be back in time to be included in the City squad. If Haaland had travelled with the squad, if Erling Haaland had travelled with the Man City squad to Serbia, I would have easily said, oh, he's going to play and he's going to score. But because I don't think Haaland will play against Crystal Palace, I'm going to say Foden with a brace, Alvarez and Grealish to get City past Crystal Palace without Erling Haaland. Newcastle Fulham, I said 2-1 Newcastle. Newcastle will score through Isaac, who returned in midweek against AC Milan, and Bruno G. For Fulham, it will be Willian. Burnley, Everton, I said 3-1 Everton. Everton will score through Doucouré. Doucouré with a brace, and I'm going to say Mikalenko. And then for Burnley, I'm going to say Amdouni. Arsenal Brighton, I said 2-1 Arsenal. Arsenal will score through Bukayo Saka and Gabby Jesus, while Brighton will score through João Pedro, who scored the goal that put Brighton through to the Europa League round of 16. And not the Europa League round of 32 playoffs. Brentford Villa, I said 3-1 Villa. Watkins, Diaby, and Bailey will score for Villa, while Brentford will get the goal from Johan with a Johan Wissa goal. West Ham Wolves, I said 2-0 West Ham. West Ham will score through Mohamed Kudus and James Ward-Prowse. And then finally, Liverpool Man United will be 5-1 Liverpool. Man United will score through Rasmus Højlund, while Liverpool will score through Mohamed Salah with a brace, Cody Gakpo, Luis Diaz, and Darwin Nunez. So those are my Game Week 17 Premier League predictions. In Game Week 18 is the next game week. Is the next game week in the Premier League after Game Week 17. And Game Week 18 includes games like Crystal Palace versus Brighton, West Ham versus Man United, Fulham versus Burnley, Forest versus Bournemouth, and even Liverpool versus Arsenal. City won't be involved in next week. Won't be playing next weekend. They'll be playing this weekend against Crystal Palace, but they won't be playing next weekend against Brentford, because the Brentford game was postponed as City are off to the Club World Cup. And I will be doing. I will try to find time. I will try and find a way to give you my predictions for the Club World Cup games. I'm probably going to do a predictions video for the Club World Cup as a short. So I'm going to do like every day, every time there's a game, in the Club World Cup involving Man City, I will create a shorts and I'll give you a prediction for those games. I want to do some prediction video. I want to make some predictions on my channel for the Club World Cup games, which for the Club World Cup and City after the Club World Cup, after the Crystal Palace game. The Crystal Palace game is the last game before City head off to the Club World Cup, which means next week we will predict Man City versus Brentford, but we won't be given. But we will be predicting Man City versus Brentford. But as it's postponed, we won't. I won't know. I won't know how many points to get for the game until it's rescheduled and played. So next week, Game Week 18, there'll be the same amount of games, but one of them is Man City versus Brentford, which isn't happening because City are involved in the Club World Cup. Just to mention that. I thought I'd just mention that. But that is it for my Game Week 17 predictions. And like I said, Game Week 18 is up next after Game Week 17, and it involves some of the games that I just mentioned. And, by the way, we did Champions League Groups Match Week's Game Week 6 predictions on Monday. However, that was the last predictions video for the Champions League group stage. When the round of 16 of the Champions League comes around, when the round of 16 draw is made, I'll make predictions of who will advance. When the first leg comes around, I'll make score predictions for the first leg. And when the second leg comes around, I'll make score predictions for the second leg. And then at the end, once we know who the teams, which teams have qualified for the quarterfinals, I will do a reaction to my original round of 16 predictions based on who wins. So let's say City get drawn against. Let's say City get Inter Milan, and I say City will go for it against Inter Milan. And let's say City gets. Let's say one of the games drawn in the round of 16. Draw for the Champions League group stage for the Champions League. Let's say one of the games drawn is City versus Inter, and let's say when it comes to my original prediction, when it comes to my predictions of which teams will advance to the quarterfinals, and I say that City will go through it, will beat Inter Milan and go through to the quarterfinals. I will see if that comes true, then I'll get a prediction right. So for the Champions League round of 16. Just to warn you, for the Champions League round of 16 and the quarterfinals and the semi-finals, I will be doing predictions for each round when after the draw happens, and I'll be giving you quarterfinal first leg predictions when the quarterfinal, and I'll be giving you round of 16 first leg, second leg predictions for quarterfinal. So round of 6 Champions League round of 16. Predictions, round of 16 first leg predictions, round of 16 second leg predictions. Quarterfinals, quarterfinal predictions, quarterfinal first leg predictions, quarterfinal second leg predictions. Semi-finals, semi-final prediction, semi-final first leg prediction, semi-final second leg predictions. So, and then I'll do a prediction video where I predict the outcome of the Champions League final. So in terms of Premier League, in terms of Premier League, 17, 18, and then 20. There's 22 match weeks left. So that's there will be 22 more Premier League prediction videos. 22. There'll be 20 on my channel. There'll be 22 more Premier League prediction videos, and then as for Champions League, there will be 10 more prediction videos. So Premier League, just to tell you. Premier League, after this one, 21 more prediction videos. Game Week 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and so on until Game Week 28. And then Champions League, 10 Champions League prediction videos. So altogether, there are 31 prediction videos left. There'll be 31 more Premier League and Champions League prediction videos on my channel. So hopefully you're gonna keep watching these prediction videos until the final. So the next predictions video on my channel is the Game Week 18 predictions video for the Premier League. My last predictions video on this channel for this season will be my Champions League final prediction. So you'll have 3 prediction videos for the round of 16, 3 for the quarterfinals, and You'll have 3 prediction videos for the round of 16, for the quarterfinals, and for the semi-finals. You'll have 1 predictions video for the final, and then you'll have 21 more prediction videos for the Premier League, as that's how many game weeks there are left. 21. So stay tuned for all those videos. That's a lot of prediction videos. So by the end of let me do some maths. Let me do some quick maths. Okay. Wait 1 second, I'm going to do some quick maths. Okay, so how many? 6, 10. By the end of this football season, there will be 55 Champions League and Premier League prediction videos on my channel. 55 prediction videos in one season. This is the first time on my channel that I'm doing Premier League predictions and Champions League predictions. So, which means by the end by the end of this season, after I've done every single predictions video, there will be 55 prediction videos. So 55 new videos altogether will be filmed this season. So stay tuned for many more prediction videos. And by the end of this football season, by the end of the 2023-2024 season, I will be thanking you for all your support across the 55 prediction videos that we would have done by the end of this season. 55 prediction videos in one football season, in a year and a half, in a year for you guys. That's how dedicated I am to this channel. I'm trying my hardest. I gotta film videos for my channel while being at uni. So it's really difficult, and hopefully you love these prediction videos. And I can't wait to see you in my next prediction videos, which, like I said, is my Gameweek 18 predictions video. Hopefully you've enjoyed my Premier League predictions up to this point, and I'll see you next Wednesday for another Premier League predictions video for Gameweek 18, where I'll predict the same amount of games, but one of them, Man City Brentford, that I will predict in that video isn't happening. That's been postponed because City are off to the Club World Cup. So just to mention that, subscribe to the channel. If you've enjoyed this video, put a comment down in the comment section. Subscribe to the channel, and if you don't want to put a comment in, at least subscribe to the channel and click notification to catch up with all my latest videos. And I'll see you next Wednesday for my Gameweek 18 Premier League predictions. Thank you for watching these predictions videos up to this point, and I'll see you next time for another predictions video. But until then, I'm out. Peace, bye, adios, ciao, and have a good rest of your evening, night, and for some of you, morning. So thank you for keeping up with these videos, but bye for now, and peace out.